Welcome to a special edition of the Draft America podcast. It is a very fun time of year for a lot of fans. The NFL schedule release will become official tomorrow. But what if we could get it sooner? In fact, what if we could get a better version of the NFL schedule? Throw it back to the good old days, when there were 16 games, when you could play teams outside your division in week 17. When it was more balanced, and when all the games were played in the United States, and Thursday football was restricted only to the kickoff game and Thanksgiving, a couple of late season Saturday games. Uh, Call me a traditionalist, call me an angry old man at this point, that's fine. But I miss those days. And so this is a yearly pet project now where I will put together my version of the NFL schedule. And believe me, it is not easy. It has to be a labor of love because it takes a lot of time. You can only devote a little bit of time each day, but that adds up. And it took months to actually put this together. Now, if you read the article on draftamerica.com, there's a lot there, a lot to take in, admittedly, but you'll see some of the what the process is like. And remember, back in the day, back in like the 60s and 70s, there was one guy who used to do this by hand. I think this was even before computers. Now it's all digital. You got to take into account the TV partners. You try to keep it as balanced as possible in terms of, getting the good teams in prime time more often, obviously. You don't want to have teams playing, having many three-game road trips. I only had one in my schedule. You don't want to have too many teams playing two straight on the road or at home to open the year, or two straight at home, or on the road to end the year, things like that. There's a lot of little restrictions. I had to do a lot of studying over the years for the schedule, and I have modeled it after the 2002 to 2005 seasons, and that was under the old television deal under former commissioner, the late Paul Tagliabue. Before everything changed in 2006 when Goodell took over. Sunday Night Football became the premier event, moved to NBC instead of ESPN. ABC's Monday Night Football moved to ESPN and was no longer the premier event. It felt very strange. We started getting Thursday Night Football. At that time, it was just a package of 8 games starting on Thanksgiving. Now it's every week. Now there's games in London. Now there are games on Wednesday. It's absurd. So kept this one just simple. We keep these simple. It's a lot of fun. And so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to try to walk you through this. I don't want to keep anybody too long, give you a chance to look at it. We'll have the master schedule and team by team schedules available that you can look at, see what your favorite team schedule should look like. And then you can get upset when you say, oh man, I was going to see my team come into town and they moved the game to London. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at the schedule here and walk through it. All right, a lot of people were wondering what that kickoff game was going to be. Now, the NFL likes to obviously the kickoff game is the defending Super Bowl champs. Didn't start out that way. 02 and 03 seasons, it was just a game the NFL chose. Then with the Patriots Colts in 04, that became the official sort of tradition that we have now, where the defending Super Bowl champ will open the season in prime time on Thursday night. The league generally doesn't put as many division games in this spot, and they don't put really the premier game. And I think that the theme that I've sensed over the years is they'll put the Super Bowl winning team against kind of an upstart team, kind of a team that's ready to facilitate the changing of the guard, if you will, maybe in the conference. I mean, a few years ago, a good example that was the Lions and the Chiefs. Remember, the Lions were coming off that great finish to 2022, and it was kind of their opportunity to prove to the world that they had arrived, and they ended up beating the Chiefs that game. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game. So the Bears feel like the natural selection here. Obviously, the Seahawks play in a great division, so they've got, home games against the Rams, against 49ers. They also have Dallas on the schedule at home this year. They've got the Chargers. So there were quite a few to pick from, but the Bears feel like this year's kind of media darling, right? They had the big season last year, and they look like maybe they're primed to take the next step and contend for the NFC title. We don't know, but that's going to be the kickoff game. Week 1, you'll notice that there are no CBS 405 games. That's because We're throwing it back to the days when CBS had the U.S. Open. So week one, there were always three 4:15 games. The NFL would always try to put the team that lost the Super Bowl in the traditional Monday night game, which is what we did with Bills Patriots, figuring that's a pretty good one to start the year. Could have seen them in the AFC Championship game. Philly at San Francisco as the opening Thursday night game. So CBS has six games in the early window, which is always what the case is. Fox has four, and then they get the three late games. The nationally televised game of the week would be Dallas at Green Bay. Hard to go wrong with the Cowboys and the Packers. The Michael Parsons reunion 2.0. Saw him last year. Saw it last year. See it this year. All right, week two. CBS gets the late slot. Marquee game here is going to be the Patriots and the Bears. Again, getting a chance to feature the Bears, getting a chance to feature the Patriots. They play each other. CBS gets the late window this week. So that would be the premier game. Went Indianapolis and Jacksonville. You'll notice you might question maybe some of the primetime games, but remember, league always tries to balance it. They try to get everybody at least a Sunday night game, just about. There's always a few teams that don't make the cut, and that's certainly the case in mine. The Monday night games are reserved for really the better teams. The maximum that the league would do, three Monday night games on ABC, one four overall. So generally that would be three Monday night games, one Sunday night game. Sometimes you'll see teams with two and two, or even one and three. Ravens at Texans, Monday Night Football. Why not? A couple of playoff teams. I made sure to get every playoff team, all 14 of them from last year, at least one Monday night game. That includes the Texans, who won the AFC South. Ravens did not make the playoffs, but they're always a good draw. They figure to be one of the better teams this year with Lamar Jackson, of course, new coach, Trey Hendrickson in the mix, all that. So Ravens at Texans. Okay, week three. The premier game here is going to be Philadelphia at Jacksonville. Now, you'll notice you see a lot of West Coast games, and some of those West Coast games, games involving West Coast teams, are obviously marquee matchups as well, but they're not always featured as the America's Game of the Week. That's what Fox calls it. So for this one, we went Eagles Jaguars. Why not? You'll see the Jaguars pop up a few times here, coming off a 13-win season, and Cowboys Commanders. Sunday Night Football. Got to get Dallas in prime time somehow, right? I actually did not give Dallas a Monday night game. I know it feels sacrilegious, not because the Cowboys were all that good last year. They won seven games, but even in bad years, the Cowboys get Monday night games. I did not get them one, but I did get, they are featured obviously on Thanksgiving, and they're going to be featured here. Hard to go wrong with a great rivalry game, Cowboys Commanders. Monday Night Football, Rams at Broncos. Broncos, one of those breakout teams last year. They were coming off a postseason appearance the year before, but they took their season all the way to the AFC Championship game, Rams to the NFC Championship game. So these were the two teams that were runners up. You'll also see that the Chargers are home on Fox. So one of the rules here, and this changed, they never had to deal with this between the 02 and 05 seasons. It used to be Oakland and San Fran couldn't play the same time on the same network. So you'll see that the games where the Chargers are playing on Fox or the Rams are playing on CBS, which is the inverse of the usual, one of those teams will either have a bye, play on a different day, play on Sunday night. So you see the Chargers hosting the 49ers on Fox. That's because the Rams are playing on Monday night. The bye weeks start. Bye weeks always 3 through 10. I know it kind of stinks to have an early bye. Sorry, Carolina, Houston, Minnesota, and the Giants. Same thing, Giants getting the bye, so the Jets are on Fox against the Packers. All right, week four. We've got a couple good games in the early window. I don't want to exclude the early window from any of these discussions. Vikings, Patriots, certainly interesting. Steelers, Bucks, a couple of interconference games. The late game premier game here, CBS has the national window, Chiefs and Rams. Remember the last time the Chiefs were in LA, it was 54-51. That was that Monday night game in 2018. So because the Chargers have a bye, the Rams can be at home on CBS. Gave Miami a primetime game. They did win six games last year. They don't figure to be very good this year, but it's Lambeau Field. So Packers hosting the Dolphins. And then Monday night, this is the Panthers Monday night game. They'll be in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. All right, let's go down to week five. Chiefs Chargers in the early window. Okay. Late window. Eagles Cowboys. Not a shocker that would be the game of the week there. Tampa at Detroit on Sunday Night Football, and try to get more division games in here in Monday night. Certainly, you take them when you can. The Bengals, if nothing else, are an exciting team. They can score a lot of points. The Steelers are a great unknown. As of this recording, still don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback. But Pittsburgh, even when you don't think they're going to be good, they're there. They're in the discussion, and it's the Steelers. People are going to tune in, right? Ultimately, the league tries to balance the decisions of, um, yeah, you want good teams in there, but you also want teams that are a draw. Hence why I was a little, I probably should have gotten the Cowboys a Monday night game for that reason. Cleveland, Denver, Jacksonville, Miami with bye weeks here. All right, week 6, you're going to notice another quirk here in the schedule. You're going to see no 4:05 games for Fox. That's because this week traditionally was reserved just to have CBS with the late window because Fox had baseball coverage. They had the league championship series. So that Sunday, they always put aside that 4 o'clock window so that they could start their coverage. So I kept that theme going here. Broncos Patriots AFC Championship game rematch. Now, to note here, in years past, you would think automatically the championship game rematch is going to be in prime time. Not the case. You look at some of those seasons, like 2005, for example, Patriots Steelers. That was a 4:15 game in week 3. So not the case this year with these games, these teams being in prime time. We put this as the feature game in the late window. Chiefs Bengals, Bengals getting back-to-back primetime games here, which did happen in that era. So Mahomes, Burrow, 8:30 on ESPN, and then NFC West, another divisional battle. Seattle at San Francisco. Always try to alternate kind of the home and road primetime games. You'll see, the schedule makers always did that. So Seahawks 49ers playoff rematch, Monday Night Football week 6. We go down to week 7. Bills Packers, interesting game in the early window. CBS gets the late slot here. Went with the Chiefs and the Seahawks. Why not? Right? Mahomes against the dark side defense. No Sunday night game. NFL used to actually care about not conflicting with the first Sunday of the World Series. So you'll see this is the one week where there's no ESPN game. Simply have a Monday night game, which is New England and the Chargers. You'll see bye weeks here. Two AFC North teams, two NFC East teams. It's a little bit of an oddity. Week 8, premier game this week, Green Bay at New England in the 4:15 window. You could argue Dallas, Seattle would be in there, but went with the Patriots because, frankly, when these teams, like the AFC teams host an NFC team, it's a chance. Fox wouldn't really have a chance to feature the Patriots the way that they would with the NFC team. So this is an opportunity there. Carolina at Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football, and then the Chiefs make their Monday night debut for the year, hosting the Denver Broncos. You'll see also the Rams have a bye, which means the Chargers get a chance to play on Fox against Arizona. Had to have a token game in the late window for CBS, so we went with the Raiders and the Browns. Maybe not the most appealing matchup, but CBS would do that, or Fox would do that from time to time. Just put a matchup in there just for the sake of having a game in that slot. Week 9, smaller early window, only 7 games. Again, this is, with the Rams now being in LA, that's one more game that would normally be in an early window that's now in a late window. 49ers play the Rams, but that's not the marquee window. Pittsburgh at New England is, because the Rams are playing at 4:05. This is a week where the Chargers will play Denver on a Sunday night. And Lions Bills, Monday Night Football. Why not? Let's give a chance for the world to see Dan Campbell at least once on Monday Night Football. Moving along here to week 10. Speaking of Dan Campbell, Lions Packers in the late window. Buffalo at Minnesota. We get a chance to feature the Vikings. Kyler Murray quarterbacking now for Minnesota. So Buffalo, Minnesota. And then we went with another AFC North Monday Night Football matchup, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. It never seems like you can go wrong with the Ravens and the Steelers. End of the bye weeks, Atlanta, Vegas, New England, New Orleans, final teams to have their byes. All right, we're getting into later November here, week 11. Premier late game. We moved the Chargers Bills to a 4:15 window, which we could afford to do because the Rams are playing on Monday Night Football. This is also the New York Giants. 15 minutes of fame here, if you will. They get a Sunday night game hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Packers Rams Monday Night Football. This is Green Bay's opportunity now to play on Monday Night Football. Came late in the year getting their first one, but they did make it. All right, Thanksgiving. Pardon me. Thanksgiving. So each year it alternates, right? CBS, Fox, or Detroit. One year will be on CBS. Dallas will get it the next year. So in the even numbered years, Detroit has the CBS game. So that means there are only two games to choose from for Detroit. Patriots, Jets, obvious choice. Patriots. Dallas, historically, we didn't see a lot of division matchups on Thanksgiving. More often than not, they would try to feature a team that was good, but wasn't maybe a division rivalry. And so the 49ers and the Cowboys it just feels right. It just feels right. Notice too, always try to get the teams playing on the short week to be playing at home the previous week just to cut down on travel. Dallas was on the road in Houston, so they really didn't have to go very far, just across the state, just a few hours to play. And then you'll see Detroit, New England, and San Francisco all home the week before. That was something that the league tried to do. Let's look at the Sunday window. Buffalo, Denver, very good game, but it's trumped by Seattle and the Rams. Late in the season to have their first meeting. We will see them play again. This is a Fox 4:15 game. Seattle at the Rams. Cincinnati at Houston. So we get to see the Bengals for a third time. Maybe a little bit of a stretch, but hey, look, again, Bengals are exciting. When Joe Burrow's in there, they score points. Houston, as we said, division winner. They won 12 games last year. And then the Bears again. The Bears get a Monday night game at home. They get the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles have the full complement of primetime games. And so this is the last time we'll see the Eagles in primetime. But Eagles Bears, that's a pretty good matchup there. Week 13, we're now officially into December. We've got the 49ers and the Chiefs. That's a pretty good one. Decided to feature the Seahawks and the Eagles in the late window. You'll notice Rams, Arizona, sort of necessitated by the fact that the Chargers are home. So couldn't have them both playing at the same time. So Denver at the Chargers at 4 o'clock, and then the Rams at Arizona. So this is Arizona's 15 minutes of fame. And then Monday night, the Patriots get their third and final Monday night game in Jacksonville. This is the Jags' first Monday night game, only Monday night game, I should say. Now, another little note here, and you'll see we did break this rule at least once, but the league always tried to have Monday night games late in the year in warmer weather environments. Obviously, it wasn't every week that they did this. They tried. That was probably more of a 90s thing. You're going to see that there's one game that certainly breaks that rule, but Jacksonville does not. Warmer climate in Florida. So tried to keep that in mind, tried to do the best I could with that. Let's move on to week 14, starting to get into some, we're in December football, so the stakes are higher. Ravens, Steelers again. That's a good one. Dallas, Philly again. We've got Green Bay, Tampa, Bay of Pigs, as Chris Berman used to call it. And then in the late window, this is the second meeting between the Rams and the 49ers. This one will be the game of the week. Chargers this time get the Sunday night game. They're in Seattle. Seattle's lone appearance on ESPN because they got three Monday night games. And then Chiefs, Bills, Monday Night Football. So that's breaking the rule. That definitely Buffalo, not exactly a balmy climate in December, but hey, Chiefs, Bills late in the year feels like you can't go wrong. All right, week 15 is when we get into Saturday football. Now, I have to mirror one of the previous years that had the same calendar dates. Now, none of those years between '02 and '05 actually had a season that started on the 13th. So we decided to mirror the closest thing to that, which was the '04 season. And in that year, they had the three Saturday games in week 15, and you'll see similar, but not quite in week 16. And then all the week 17 games were Sunday games. And then whatever the late game is on the Saturday, the opposite network would have the big games and have the late window, the 4:15 slot on Sunday. So Indy, Houston, the early Saturday game. Dallas at the Rams. Them playing on Saturday gives us a chance to have the Chargers home on Sunday. Bears, Lions, Sunday Night Football. See the early games here in week 15. Philly, Washington, probably the biggest one. And then in the late window, Seattle, Denver, a Super Bowl matchup that could have occurred last year and didn't. New England, Buffalo, the 4:15 game on CBS. Jacksonville at Baltimore, Sunday Night Football. And once again, we break our rule with the the warm weather games here on Monday Night Football. Atlanta at Green Bay. Falcons get a chance on Monday night. Green Bay gets a Monday night game at Lambeau. Okay, you see Christmas Day. Now, the league did this back in '04. It wasn't Christmas Day, it was Christmas Eve. They did it in '99. Dallas was in that game. Friday, it was Christmas Eve. We're going to do it on Christmas. Commanders, Cowboys get featured again. Saw them on Sunday night back in week 3, if you remember. Here, they get the standalone Christmas Day game on Friday. Worked out even better that Dallas was playing on Saturday the week before. Philly was at home. I'm sorry, Washington was home against Philly. Jacksonville and the Giants as the 5 o'clock game on Saturday. New Orleans, Tampa, the Saturday night game. You look here at the Sunday slate. Green Bay, Chicago, their second meeting and final meeting is the premier game at 4:15. Patriots, Chiefs, Sunday Night Football, kind of the two AFC dynasties over the past 25 years. And then Rams, Seahawks. We get to feature Rams, Seahawks to close out the Monday night slate in week 16, NFC Championship game rematch. And then my favorite time of all, week 17. Not all division games. This was great. Sometimes you get great random matchups. Obviously, a lot of division games worked out that exactly half of them were. There are 8 division games. Baltimore, Buffalo. Ravens, Bills feels, I mean, that's a pretty good one. You always hope that the games have some meaning and that it's not a rest your starters kind of deal. If it is, so be it. But you know what? Let's say you have Ravens, Steelers, or Bears, Packers. You put that in week 17, and then it is a meaningless game. Then you've burned a great rivalry just for the sake of, oh, it's a division game, so let's put it in week 17. But do you really want to lose out on one of those Packers Bears games because, the Packers have all their second stringers in there? Um, so you'll see these are the early games, and then the late window, 4 CBS games. Hard to pick which one would be the premier game, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs and the Broncos just because it's a divisional matchup. But Chargers Rams, very intriguing. Battle of LA. Rams would be the designated home team. Obviously, they could play on CBS in this case because they're playing the Chargers. Um, Miami, Vegas, Jets, New England, and then Dallas, Indy as the final Sunday night game. Um, Dallas actually got the final Sunday night game in both the '04 and '05 season, so kind of felt like we could go with it here. So that closes out the regular season schedule. This is how I think the wild card and divisional and championship and Super Bowl weekends would all play out. Saturday, Sunday, they stagger the games. Divisional weekend, January 15th and 16th. Championship games, the NFC game is the early game here. And then Super Bowl 61, not in Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara. Apologies there. I'll have to update that to SoFi Stadium. Let's do that right now. In Inglewood. Want to be official, right? Another Super Bowl. And then, yes, the AFC NFC Pro Bowl in Hawaii, Aloha Stadium, 7 o'clock, the sunsetting of the season. ESPN gets this game. And that is how we close out the 2026 NFL season officially, my way. So that's it. That's a look. You can go on draftamerica.com to see the full schedule yourself, to also see the team by team schedules if you want to see how those break out. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you get more of a kick out of this than the current NFL schedule with all its craziness. And they've already leaked a bunch of the games. It's a fun pet project. Allows me to dream. Thank you all for tuning in. For Draft America, I'm Michael Seff. Take care.